Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, April 7th meeting of the Norton Planning Board. The public is welcome to participate in person or remotely. We are here in person at the Norton Town Hall at 72 East Main Street in the Crane Room. You may also join online via the Zoom link as listed in the agenda. And in addition, please feel free to email any questions ahead of time to town staff as listed in the agenda. I will call this meeting to order. We have 6 members in person tonight. Tim, myself, Eric, Bridget, Steve, and Frank. We do not have any planning board business or policies. We'll save a couple of those for the end. No bills and warrants. No minutes. We took care of those. The first and only item on our agenda for public hearings tonight is Site Plan Review 9 and Special Permit 17 for 0 West Main Street. The owner applicant is SRO Development, LLC. The applicant is seeking to construct 2 top-of-the-shop buildings with a combined total of 35 units and 65 parking spaces. This was continued since early February. Today we did receive a letter from the applicant is seeking to withdraw this application, both of them without prejudice. He is still working on plans. He is not ready to present his new project to us, and he would like to present a new project to the whole board. So we have a letter on file from SRO Development LLC, care of Michael Larkin, requesting to withdraw without prejudice. So the chair would entertain a motion to withdraw Site Plan Review 9 and Special Permit 17, 0 West Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 6-0. That is the only item on our agenda technically for this evening. April 11th coming up is our town elections. We have 3 seats with a few write-in candidates and 1 person on the agenda on the ballot. Our next meeting is going to be April 21st. It's not going to be a meeting that has public hearings. It's going to be more of a housekeeping and training and getting policies and procedures outlined with the new board and a strategy going forward for the rest of the year. May 18th, we do have town meeting. We have a couple things the planning board is involved with that is on the agenda. Only other 2 items for tonight is we do have 2 members that are here in person. It's their last meeting. Mr. Griffin, who's been here for, I believe, 9 years.
Correct.
And Mr. Norris, who's been here for, seems like a very long 3 years.
Just enough to get some grades. That's about it.
Yes, he had no grade before he started.
Nope.
Eric, we'll start with you. I do have a very expensive certificate of appreciation for you to please hang on your wall in your office when you get home.
As the clerk, do I need to sign it?
I signed it for you.
Oh, thank you.
But please take the floor. I know you have a few things you want to say.
Oh, I got a presentation, no less. So give me one moment here. So let me go to Zoom. So I'm going to take a couple minutes to go over a little bit of some thoughts I've had, especially recently. Let me see if I can figure out how to share. All right. Now, I know financials of the town. It's not necessarily something we get into here. I honestly personally think that's kind of a mistake, so I waited till this is my last day, so if you want to kick me out, too late. But honestly, as I think most people listening know, I went to the select board because I had concerns about the VCC and the decision making that seemed to be going at the time. And the reason I had that issue was because looking at Norton from a financial standpoint, I was a little concerned with removing one of the few really good parts where we can set up some extra money from business taxing businesses. So it's more or less what I just kind of want to go over real quick so you can see what I'm seeing. So this is the chart here. I used the audit data that's publicly available. So I got from 2016 to 2014. You can go before that, but I needed to pick some place to start. And you can see in 2024, the green line is the money we're taking in total. The yellow line is the expenditures in total, and the red line at the bottom is basically basically our deficit. And basically what that's showing me, and what I've been feeling for a couple of years now, is we are hitting a point where, while previously the money being managed through not staying within 2.5, Proposition 2.5, and being very diligent is very good, I think we've hit a point where our tax base is not big enough to deal with the realities of the world today. So it is slowly starting to start now, but in my opinion, we need to start making those hard decisions now, not by 2034, where that red line where that is, it's continually going down, but that also means there's a good chance we won't have the general fund anymore, because all that deficit has to come from somewhere. Those lines are also making some assumptions, like the interest rates aren't going to be the same. I don't believe that's true. Right now it's 2.5, and a lot of the analysts are looking at it being 4.2 by the end of this year, let alone next year, the year after. Iran war not pushing up gas prices higher. That's probably not a reality either. Electricity prices in Massachusetts, they're still going to continue to go up. And they're guessing right now at least 9% this year. And again, this is nothing that's calculated in those lines. The lines, the graph I showed before, are the steady state. And that's also assuming we'll get the same amount of aid from the state, which I don't believe is going to be true either, because currently the way people are looking at that is that they are budgeting for a crisis, not for sustainability. They basically are fighting for stable state, not for growth, which means less money for the towns. So none of those are in there, but in my view of what's going on, those all have to be calculated in. So the two options in my head are continue with Prop 2.5 overrides, which we haven't done. I think we have one coming up, but we haven't actually approved any, or expand the tax base. And there's a couple ways to do it, but to be honest, the best way is to look at the CIP, the SIP, which really is just, it says commercial, industrial, personal property, but it's really what percentage of tax are coming from businesses. And if I remember right, it's about 18% for Norton.
Yes, correct.
Okay. I think that's really realistically where the town should be looking at in general, but I think that's where the planning board should try to look at. I know there's the Addis-Ababa town meeting and all that, but I think there's 4 areas of opportunity, and they're basically the ends of 140, the ends of 120, and the VCC, and I think there's really only 5 areas of opportunity right now. Basically everything as far away from the center of the town on the highways, because that's where I get all the traffic anyway, and the VCC. And that's why when we had the joint board, I didn't make a stink about the fact that the select board probably overstepping their bounds by what's going on in the charter, because I do believe the VCC is that important. I'd rather the compromise than jeopardize it altogether. That could have ramifications down the road. That's something future boards will have to think about. But yeah, I think that those are basically the only areas of opportunities we have to build out basically the tax levies for more businesses. And when does it matter? Now. I mean, again, we had a 2.5 that failed back in 2024 for school stuff. We have the middle school roof coming up on Saturday. So my challenge to the citizens of Norton is, in fact, that one ballot question, Prop 2.5 getting the middle school with a new roof. If anybody who's listening hasn't gone through the process before, it's not just the ballot. Then you have to show up for the town meeting on May 18th to prove the final warrant. So currently, right now, there's about 250 people who participate total at town meetings, roughly. But they're representing 20,000 people. That's only 1.25% of the population showing up to determine the future of this town. So part of my challenge to the citizen Norton is show up, become at least aware and show up, because or you're going to let that 1% basically control where this town ends up in the next 10, 20 years. And then my challenge to the planning board, future planning boards, is try to find, like, I honestly think doing the refresh, like doing nothing but, talking to the board, getting things settled for the next round is a great idea. But I also think part of the conversation is having quarterly talks with town staff and be like, what are our opportunities? What tools do we have? What tools do we need to kind of help get that SIP percentage up? Or even just ask questions like, why don't we have a grocery store? I think that's a good conversation to have. Or like, AI is a thing. Is there an area we can put an overlay for a data center or something like that? So it doesn't have to be a good idea, but I think there has to be ideas thrown out there just so we can get to the good ideas. But that's basically all my thoughts in a nutshell over the last couple of months, really. Because the other part of it is my little thing at the bottom. You only can cut so much. What ends up happening once you cut too much, especially with the schools, is nobody wants to stay around for the broken schools. Nobody wants to come to the town with the broken schools. So now your property tax starts shrinking as well. And since it's 82% property tax, if that starts shrinking, it just becomes a downward spiral until something happens. So, sorry, it's not on the happiest of notes, but this is honestly where I think the town is, and the planning board has limited tools, but it does have tools to at least attempt to address some of it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Very good.
Could I just,
Paul, go ahead.
well, first, just a couple of things to add to it. The 18%, we have come up, a few years ago was about 15, but best practices say a municipality should be at a minimum 25%. That should be at least the minimum target. One other opportunity area is the DOT property across from Blue Star. It's about 30 acres, and it's supposed to be coming online. But again, as we know, we're in redevelopment mode now. There's just very little vacant land left. And the other thing I think it's important to bring up is on the issue with the supply and demand. This board plays an important role because of what you approve or don't approve has an effect on the revenues coming in. So, that's a really critical. I mean, we went from 15 to 18 largely because of Blue Star. But again, Blue Star doesn't happen if the board doesn't approve it. So you all have a very important role in our budget.
On top of that, something else that's been on the top of my mind, Paul and I have talked about this, and it kind of is going along with what you said, Eric. And it's something that we'll start talking about next meeting. And is it something that we need to put into our bylaws within our special permit criteria, or for every project, is a fiscal impact study? Mm-hmm. So require the applicant to dig out all the information. How does these 72 apartments and all this affect this town services? We hear everyone say, well, it's going to be negative effectively. Anyone can say what they want. We really don't know. I feel sometimes that we're fighting blind. We have an idea about some things. We don't know exact facts. So if we have some type of requirement for all these projects to do a fiscal impact study, we could actually say, this is what it's going to impact on fire. This is how it impacts police. This is how it impacts town services. And put the burden on the applicant to prove it to us, and not us to try to find our own information and have to come up with it ourselves. Other than that, going to what you're saying about the budget, Eric, I know just in the talks in the last week and a half where they are talking losing 6 to 8 teachers, 1 less fireman, 1 less policeman funded for next year. So obviously budget constraints is significant. Anything else?
How much time you got? No, I'm good.
Plenty of time.
I'm good. No, that like I said, it's unfortunate that we don't have in our own bylaws to be able to talk about fiscal stuff, and I think this board really should be the proactive part. I was in the, being in the CIC, I see the other side of it, and just, when I left to join this particular meeting, we were right at the line, and that's including grabbing money from other places outside of the Capitol, and I was like, this is crazy. So I'm happy not to have the experience on both sides, but I think having this board being at the forefront of fiscal responsibility, for lack of a better word, is an important step.
Well, please come back and keep an eye on us. Please chime in.
From
whenever you
far
want.
away,
From
yes.
far away.
Yes. But no, I will. I'll probably, honestly, I'll definitely keep an eye on what's going on here in general, because like when that bylaw comes up, I want to make sure I support it and stuff like that for the fiscal stuff, because I think it's very important.
Thank you, and we appreciate your service.
And Eric, I'll add on to that. I think one of the ways I think I look at it, and I think Paul, we've talked about this, is like the development and fiscal path for the town is a triangle. You know, the triangle of like getting something done. You can get something good, fast, or cheap. Pick two. For town finance, I think it's either taxes, development, and town services.
Yep.
If you have low taxes and low development, you're going to have reduced town services.
Yep.
If you have more development, then maybe you have the opportunity to reduce taxes or increase services or something like that. So, yeah, it's find the Venn diagram and area where in that area you want to be, and that's you can't pick all of them.
Right.
You can't have low taxes, high services, and no development. You got to pick something.
Right. Yeah. And you got to move somewhere, because just the way the world works.
Yep, that's what it is time for you. And it is time now that everyone do their job and show up at town election on April 11th, May 18th for the town meeting. Because you care about your town like me, the mayor. Show up! Show up!
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you,
Couldn't have
Peter.
said it better. We'll keep going here with Mr. Griffin. This will be his end of his stay on the planning board. I have a wonderful certificate of appreciation that's going to go over his computer desk tonight when he gets home.
That's some nice paper,
Frank,
actually.
It
That's
is. It's very, very nice paper. It's
Yeah.
high class.
It is.
Tim's part of the reason I was on the board. He was speaking at one of the town meetings where I was just sitting and listening in the audience, and he said, look, I'm on the planning board now. Anyone can do it. All you got to do is do something and try. It's kind of one of my things I've been saying to myself. You can just do things. So if you want to do something, all you got to do is try it. If you want to affect anything in town, you can. There's plenty of opportunities on this board, and many other boards are looking for help. Tim, go ahead. Has any final thoughts? I know you shared some thoughts with an
I
email.
don't think I have any more final thoughts to add. I had kind of started a running notebook, and I sent it to Paul to share with everybody of random ideas, some of which I stole and some of which I've just kind of made up as I went along. So use them as you will, I guess.
I have nothing else on the agenda. Anybody else have anything they want to say? Steve?
Yeah. Well, thank you, both of you guys, for what you've done. I've enjoyed all of my meetings with both of you. You're both very fair. You've had good manners. You treat people nicely. You've been kind to me. And it's going to be a little bit of a loss for the board to not have you guys. I'm very much... I admire what you've done, Tim. I hope I can graduate to your stage at some point. I'm impressed with how you've conducted yourself this whole time. So
Thank you. I appreciate it.
hopefully at some point we interact in a professional way again.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have my first meeting with the Cultural Council next week, so I'm not leaving.
Yeah, you're
Town
not
stuff.
leaving town, but
So if anyone wants to watch me fail miserably at over 30 basketball, that's weekly too now. I'm still sore from last week.
If there's nothing else, the Tim and Eric, I think the last motions should be yours tonight.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good night. Thank you very much.